welcome to the Reosk Presentation. My name is Sima and I'm a real estate agent with approximately 25 years experience. We're very excited to have you here tonight, and we're about to present a very exciting business opportunity for you, which revolves around an online system for real estate agents with a very unique point of difference, which is basically the compliance. We have identified with complete certainty that there is a need for a system like this in the marketplace. Real estate agents must use such a system in order to stay compliant and to run their business efficiently. What we are going to be presenting to you tonight is a limited opportunity to come on board at a very affordable rate. We're at a point where 85% of the company is already committed. There's only a very small number of shares still available, and there is a certainty that the share prices is going to go up as of the 1st of October. So we're inviting you guys to come on board. We're going to try and make the presentation as innovative and exciting for you in a short space of time. We've got numerous speakers here at the moment, and we will actually also attempt to show you the system a bit later on. I'd like to introduce Mr. Dirk Billen as the first speaker. Thank you.
Sima said, my name is Dirk Bielen. I live in Adelaide. I'm not Australian, as you can hear. My wife is, she's from Adelaide, and that's why I live in Adelaide, which is a nice little city, I would say, in Australia, my personal experience. When I was moving here, I have a corporate background, so I've always been in corporate environment. And when I came here, I was introduced through Sima as well, through my wife. And that's how I know Reosk, and that's why I'm involved now as well. Myself, I'm supporting businesses to grow and to further develop. And I look forward to also bring here my expertise in market and business development, I would say, for this specific and very good opportunity. You've got here a person, I'm not going to ask you his name, but his name is Sergei Bubka, and he's a pole vault. Why do I put him down? Well, he's quite unique in the fact that he had his world record for more than 20 years. He basically was developing himself, even without any competition. He was developing himself and his technologies and his techniques to really have the best available, and as such he created a major gap with the first follower, and he had an unseen competitive advantage. He improved his last record in 1994, and it was beaten last year in February. So there was 20 years that it was there, and even when he was retired, it was not there. That's how much he was ahead of the company, of the rest of the competition. So why am I saying you all of this? Is basically, this is a bit what I feel when I think about Reosk. Sima has been working on this for many years, and even there was no competition, and even she was fighting on her own in a little corner to get it all up and running. It's the drive to always do better, to improve, to make it more complete, to make it more compliant, that has resulted in the product that we have today. And that's why I decided to become a shareholder as well, have invested myself as well, because I do believe that there is a major future for this opportunity. If you ask me the question, why Reosk? Because there's plenty of other businesses out there. Well, first of all, I would say that, as Sima said in her initial presentation, it is a perfect concept for an industry that was suffering from some ethical or poor ethical business conduct. And this has, as a result of that, this has resulted in complex and very difficult to understand regulatory guidelines. So very often the real estate agents are just not aware what needs to happen when there are changes. They are doing things and they are considering this as the right thing to do, but then will find out that they ultimately are in trouble and have to fine, as Sima just mentioned. So to understand all that is not straightforward. Second thing, so it gives an answer there. The second thing that I want to say is also that Reosk is built bottom up, meaning Sima had to do the hard work because she was in the beginning a junior real estate agent as well, and was confronted with all these technical problems, these regulatory guidelines, these demands from fair trade. And as such, she decided first to have her own little system for her own business to make it easier for her to be compliant. And as such, she understood that there was a market because there was nothing out there, and so she had to develop everything herself. So it's really built bottom up, meaning from a need from one person, moving it up to where we are today as a real business to support the real estate industry. The third reason why I think I invested in Reosk is Sima. I mean, she's a hard worker, she is a very dedicated person, and as I always say, failure is not an option for her. She will keep on pushing, she will make sure that she has all the information and will take the right decisions. Although sometimes people will tell to say that you're dreaming, you believe your dream and keep pushing and make sure that it becomes reality as well. And that is how I have seen Sima for the last nearly 10 years now, I think. And then the last reason why I think Reosk is a very interesting business to invest in is that it is a global opportunity, as Sima just mentioned. It's not only just now New South Wales, but also the rest of Australia can benefit from it, but also the highly regulated countries that have the good legislative environment for real estate industry, them as well will be interested. And then you're talking about Singapore or even California, and there's many more out there that would benefit from such a system, and then adapt it obviously to the local legislation. But also it can be used as a standalone as we do today. I mean, it is here for the real estate business as such under the current Reosk brand. But basically it could also become a part of a multinational network. I mean, you can imagine that, for instance, one of the very big real estate agencies, the worldwide ones, would consider that as an in-house system to help their real estate agents to be compliant. So at that moment it would mean that the business would be sold off or acquired by one of these very big organizations, but again a major opportunity for the current shareholders and the future as well, of course. So as I said, one of my roles in the last 25 years, I think, is to look how we can market a product, and whether it's a product or a service, I try to always think out of the box and see what are the opportunities out there, where can we bring this product so that we have the right awareness and that we can create the need, which is the basic statement for marketing, is create the need, and then at that moment people will start buying it. So if I look into the target markets, there's basically in a very short time frame that I will talk here, there's three that I would like to mention. The first of one is a tactical market development, and it basically is the real estate agency business owner. And this can be a single entrepreneur, this can be an SME, or this can even be the national or international real estate corporation. So that's the first group, and that would be purely tactical. This is really having a sales force going out, sell the product, and that would be the first step. The two other ones are more strategic thinking. This is not going to be a straightforward sell, but it's definitely that we can consider. Is first of all the government, and the second one are the institutional investors in real estate agencies. Which basically means that for the last two, we will have to think a bit out of the box how we're going to approach them, but there is definitely a great opportunity to do so as well. Let me go into some details of the three business opportunities that I see out there. So what is the added value for the real estate agency business owner? First of all, for them, there is a lower cost of true compliance. Because at that moment, as Sim already said, there's quite a lot of fines involved. But if you have the Reosk system implemented and operational, you will have less or no fines. Your audit preparation costs, so once the people come in, you basically have to be ready and have to provide them with the information. Most of the time they just walk in and start looking in your books. That's what's happening today here in New South Wales. But also there will be people like in South Australia, they warn you between quotes. They will basically say, we're gonna come and check your agency, so make sure that the right people are there, so we can ask the right questions and that we get the answers that we need. So here, a real estate agency will have to start preparing the audit. And if they are working with Reosk, this preparation is going to be much less. During the audits, people will walk in the offices, consider the office here, and then at that moment will ask you questions. You have to stop whatever you're doing, so you have downtime. That will be reduced as well. And on top of that, because Reosk is quite easy, it might be complex because of the vast amount of documents, but easy to use. That means that you have less personnel training, and if someone leaves, the system is there with all the information in there, so you don't have to start from scratch. You just need to make sure that the person that comes on board uses the system as it was designed, and which is relatively easy. So that's, I would say, relatively straightforward selling. Then, obviously, easier day-to-day management of the agency. Everything is at your fingertips. Documents are there, but everything is on your fingertips, works easy. It's much easier to do all the reporting that is needed for internal business management, but also for customer management. All the documents are there. It's a matter of filling it in, sending it out, and all the information is there, and it's documented in the system, which means you can always go back to the details. And last, which I think is key as well, is that you have a much more professional market perception. Because the outgoing documents, all the documents will have your logo on it. At that moment it feels that it is professional, it looks good. There's no, or much less human errors. You don't forget a date, you don't forget to sign, because everything is documented in the system as well. And it gives the feeling for the customers that you are on top of the business. You really are managing it well, you know what's happening, and you show it through a very professional system. Then the two strategic ones. First of all, the governmental bodies. What is the added value for them if they would consider Reosk? First of all, the cost of compliance for them is going to go down. What do I mean with that? If they have to come in like here now and they have to look through your books, it takes time at that moment to do that physical look into books. If they say Reosk is the system that you need to use, at that moment it's very easy for them to find the right information, because they have endorsed it and they basically say, give me this, this and this report. They know what is behind it, they understand, and immediately the audit goes much quicker. So basically they will walk in and ask the agency, are you a Reosk or a non-Reosk company? And if you're a Reosk company, they say to the 3 auditors that came in, the 2 others can go, one stays and say, give me this and this and this report. And at that moment they feel that everything is under control and works well. So for them there is a major impact on that. So that means, as I said, the personnel costs will go down for the governments, but also the personnel retention costs, because what is happening today, you have people in complex environments that they have to train their people to get to the right standard and that they understand all the legislation and the regulatory requirements. That kind of training takes quite a bit of time. And then at a certain moment they're fully trained, they will start to deliver and give a return on the investment, and then the industry can pay much higher wages or salaries and say, you know it all, come and work for me, and then government has to start training them again and from scratch. So to keep these highly trained individuals, they need to put very good and smart retention plans in place, and still they cannot compete with the industry at that moment. So with a system like Reosk, there might be an interest for them to at that moment have the system do all the work and have less training of the personnel, so the personnel retention costs are going to be lower and the training and support costs are going to be lower. So there might be a quite good interest in going and talk to the government. Of course, there is the concept of preference. They have to always tender, they have to open it up to a variety of companies. They cannot just say, you need to work with Reosk, because that they cannot do that. But there's ways around that to address that, so that is not too much problem. You have the cost of compliance that will go down, but also the cost of non-compliance will go down, because if everything is in control and is compliant and is doing well, you don't have fine collections anymore. You don't have prosecution or less prosecution costs and less legal fees for the government. So there is an incentive for them to do that as well, because their costs of operation will go down for this specific one. And lastly, I didn't put down, but another benefit for them as well is right now, and not just here in Australia, but also outside of Australia, what is happening in the Sydney market, lots of people are looking like, how is this possible that it is so expensive there, the properties? And they feel like, is there something funny going on? And then they hear about some of the fraud cases or the issues that went wrong, and that doesn't reflect on the government either. So they want that out of there. Again, Reosk might help here as well to polish that image of what is happening in the real estate industry here in Sydney, I would say. So that is another one that you would consider as a benefit for a government. But again, this is a more strategic approach, very doable, but a completely different approach to bring it into the market. And then the last one, very quickly, is basically institutional investors. This would be the very big organizations that would buy or have major shareholders in the Johnson Wooden or those kind of companies. Why would they be interested in using the Reosk system? Here you basically give them, as the major shareholder, a dashboard that very easily shows what is happening in the companies. So for them, the internal audits which they do for their investments, they will be much easier, because again, they know the system and know where to find the information. But also they will avoid the negative brand exposure. That means if something goes wrong with these big organizations, if there would be I'm just picking a name, not that there's anything wrong with them. I will not put, I was going to put Rain Horn or LJ Hooker or so, but if there would be at that moment a fraud case or a major non-compliance, then the investor in these companies could have some of the flack as well, and they don't want that for them. So they basically don't want that negative brand exposure and the risk of fines for these bigger. So they don't want that because they have shareholders as well, and they don't want that. So for me, that is again a bit of a stretch, but I don't consider that as impossible. I do believe that there is an opportunity to move there as well in business development. So as Sima said, we're very close to market here in New South Wales, and I really look forward to get the first end user feedback and then to start moving it along. So that's my 2 cents for the whole Reosk thing. Thank you.
I've been involved for 2 or 3 years now. I was originally called in to do a evaluation of Reosk in its early stages, and it's come a long way since then, but I've expressed an interest in being involved mainly because I was extremely impressed with what Reosk is all about, and I'm proud to be involved in helping it grow and be successful. So when I look at where Reosk is at and what we're trying to achieve, any emerging business needs capital to achieve its objectives, and it's at the stage where the opportunity is a very exciting one. The main questions that an investor might ask, does it work? Well, yes it does. Is there a demand in the marketplace? Well, there's no doubt about that. We've got these training colleges like ACOP, the Australian College of Professionals, that are saying things like everyone who wants to obtain a real estate license should study under the Reosk system. Now that's a great compliment, but it's also a very exciting business prospect when you think about all of the real estate agencies, the tens of thousands, as Sima mentioned, and many new ones coming through every month. in this country. So the opportunity is very strong. Does it offer something that doesn't currently exist? Yes, it does. The world the digital revolution is here. We can't deny it, and technology is driving just about every business these days, whether it's accounting systems or taxi services or predictive analytics. All of these things are driven by technology and using information intelligently in an efficient technological way. And I think Reosk ticks all the boxes in those terms. In terms of the value of the company, any early stage business, its value is what it can earn in the future. And as the business gets closer to reality, that means the risks become less and the value goes up. So the higher the risk, the more you have to discount the value of an emerging business. And we've just about ticked all the boxes now. There aren't any technological hurdles. Reosk is building a CRM system, a customer relationship management system that just enhances it, makes it more effective. Dirk comprehensively covered all the benefits for users of the system, and they only get stronger and stronger and will be enhanced when it's out in the marketplace. So I think the issue really is one of communication. Communication to investors and communication to potential customers. And investors need to know that Reosk is there, it's about to be unleashed in the marketplace, and the opportunity is outstanding. And the prospect of franchising and growing a Reosk agency in different ways is quite exciting in itself. If you look at the big, say, national agencies like John McGrath, they say that scalability is really vital to their business, and that requires good systems, processes, and technology. And so clearly Reosk is at the forefront. It's ahead of the pack, just like Dirk's pole vaulter. We may not be 20 years ahead of the pack, but we've got first mover advantage, as they say in venture capital. So we need to communicate the opportunity to investors and potential investors, because it is a great opportunity. And then we need to, the other side of the coin is that nothing happens in business till you sell something. So we need to communicate what Sima and her team have developed over all these years. There's many, many man-years of development gone into it, and we believe it's unlikely that anyone else will have the wherewithal, the energy and the drive to replicate what Reosk has done. And if they do, by the time they get close to doing what Reosk is today, Reosk will have moved ahead into the new releases and enhancements of what it does. And with the joint venture that Reosk has recently done with Mr. Louis Cerulis, who's at the forefront of technology in a number of spaces, whether it's in information for analysing corporations and their directors, or interest rate comparisons for home loans, or automated valuation techniques that banks can use so they can accelerate the process of lending on real estate, or financing home purchases. He's involved in all of those elements, and he's a visionary, and we don't know exactly what he's going to do through the joint venture, but we know it'll be exciting and very financially rewarding for Reosk. So I think the exercise, to summarise, is to communicate on both sides of the equation. Get investors and prospective investors to know what the opportunity is, and to get customers to embrace Reosk, and that will need marketing as well as word of mouth, which will kick in once a multitude of agencies use it. But so the momentum will be generated on both sides of the equation. So thanks again for inviting me to speak, and thank you, Sima, for letting me be part of the team.
We're excited to have you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Shweta, and I've been working for Reosk for the last 6 years. I started as a product analyst, where I was doing the research on compliance, on real estate industry. Then I grew to business analyst, and now I do compliance as well with Sima. And we work as a team. We have a great team here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through quickly with the system, what we've done, only the features. I won't take a long time. So this is our marketing side. This is where you can get a lot of information about the system, what we are, the products and everything. So currently showing the documents management system, where we've got 3 modules: general administration, property management and sales. General administration deals with employment, real estate industry procedures and office administration stuff. Property management is more towards rentals, landlords management and dispute management, repair and maintenance management. Sales, from pre-listing till the settlement process, everything is covered. Then we have a trust accounting system, which is again for both sales as well as property management. With the trust accounting, we're not selling at this point of time. We're just only providing documents management service with the CRM. So with the CRM, we have Microsoft Dynamics CRM, which is the leading CRM providers at the moment. And as you can see, it's very simple to use, user-friendly, just broken down into daily needs. So like properties, leads and contacts, repair and maintenances, dispute resolutions, and daily use. So if I'm a user, I would enter my database here, which is like where I start adding a new property, whether it's a rental or a sales. You can just identify them here. You can add inspections towards any property. So just so I navigate through to the rental listings, you can see your active listings here, your expired listings here, your inactive listings here, everything. In the rentals and in the sales, it's the same. Pretty much, and you can see all your properties, include both sales and rentals together. For example, if I take to an active listing, which is sales as well as a rental listing, you can see you can see how it gives information, whether when it was last active as a rental listing, when it's last active as a sales listing. It gives you every information about the property. The beauty of the system also is from the CRM, let's say if your property is a rental property as well as a sales property, it will track both rental processes and sales processes. You can make inspections for both, and at the same time look at your service calendars, look at your inspections calendars and organize it. It will prompt you on overbooking or overlapping on inspections with other properties. And other thing was with regards to every single property that you have. Let's say if you're in a rental listing, every property you have a process to go through with every single property, or with rental, or with managing your landlords. In a landlords, you have pre-management, starting a management, end of management, during the management process. So that's also incorporated in this one. In the lease, you've got pre-lease, lease, and end of lease. In pre-lease, there is a set of things you have to follow. So in the CRM, it's easy to track what stage you are at. Unless and until you don't finalize that particular stage, you can't really move on to the next stage. So that's making you stick to the compliance. And the next part is about inspections. With the inspections, let's say if you're doing, you can do the inspections over your phone when you're on the property. You can take the photos and directly put it on your CRM, or you can do any documents and just create PDFs of it and throw towards that property into the CRM. So it's all done under the SharePoint. And when you're moving out, let's say if a property manager is moving out of the company, they can just assign all the listings to one of his team members or the licensee in charge, and everything is sorted out. And that's pretty much it about the system. If you've got any questions, do let me know. I'll answer you now.